few things. Let me just get in a few things that's currently going on. If you can hear me, just go ahead, say hi, so I know you guys are here. We've been doing it with Sean and Nickel these days, so I thought let me do one where I just spend some time with you guys. So let's do that. Let's see how it goes. Let me just connect to the internet here as well. So should be good. I think the audio and the video should be fine as well. So yes, think we're all good. Yeah, I'm just going to try putting in a poll so we have that. Uh, there is some bit of me that still does believe that the Israel Iran thing is not a done dusted story. It might evolve into something a little bit more. So let's see what happens about that. All right. Let me go ahead and put the poll in so we all know where we are. Right. Mm, let's see. Let's see what's happening. Let's see what's happening. Yeah, there you go. So we have the poll in. There you go. So I don't want that third option. Whew. Okay, pretty cool. I got the poll going. I'm also gonna need the. I mean, this one's pretty random. It has nothing exactly to follow and keep going with. Let's try it. All right. Usually we do this at about 9:30 a.m. Eastern, right? But as of now, it looks 9 a.m. Eastern. Sorry. But I thought, you know what? Let's go give it a shot. Let's see how many people tune in for this. If anyone has any questions or anything, we can then put those through. But at the moment, one thing that I am seeing that I did see the news at the moment was that Donald Trump is leaving from the G7 early because of the Middle East tensions. I'm guessing that was still the plan. You have seen the NASDAQ head lower because of that. So that's the reason I said, you know what, let's get on a call. Let's get on this bandwagon to try figuring out some of these things that are happening. Especially the fact that he's leaving early is a sign that things might escalate even more. And if they do, there could be a chance that the Strait of Hormuz shuts down. If the Strait of Hormuz does shut down, we could enter into something which is worse. You can see oil shoot up. So I'm just going to go in and check oil as well to see what's happening. Everyone just go ahead and say hi to everyone. Come into the chat. And so the Israel-Iran thing is not a done dusted, as in the markets were rallying thinking none of that's going to be happening. But as of what I'm seeing right now, it is possibly entering into something larger as well. It does look that way though. Again, he wouldn't have left the G7 if this was the case where he had to. He would have stayed for the G7, I'm pretty sure, because he would want most of his trade deals to go through all of that other talk that he needs to have with everyone else. He would want that to finish. That's currently not looking like it's happening. he is leaving, and that's not a good sign. In all honesty, that's not a good sign. Never a good sign when you have to leave that way. So most likely someone's going to get bombed, something's going to happen. It is pretty certain that it does look that way. Baljeet Williams, how do you get the confidence to come on live with that beautiful face? Thank you so much. Nice to see you. How's it going? Let me just see this. Yeah, 146 points down on the US 100. And it does look like we are necessarily heading lower, possibly, if things don't seem to be getting controlled, right? That is something that I am looking at. So for everyone that's new here, go ahead, subscribe. We go ahead and do an 8:30 a.m. Eastern, which is New York time call every day, live on YouTube as well. So you guys can just join in there, ask all of your questions when it comes to stocks. We've been doing this now, almost about 31, 32 episodes in. So we're going to keep doing this. The Chinese embassy in Israel has come out and said that they warn citizens that the security situation has become severe. So maybe it is going to get worse. Chinese embassy advises citizens to leave Israel through land border crossing as soon as possible. Trump to leave G7 summit early to focus on conflict in Middle East, White House says. Trump requests NSC, National Security Council, to be prepared in Situation Room. So I'm guessing there is going to be something that's happening. Oh, he's returning tonight. So I don't know, man. I mean, this is looking like it could have one final pin in the coffin. Something might happen which might make stocks go a bit more crazy. They might head lower, is what I would guess. If something like the leader is killed, or you have carnage on the streets of Tehran, or vice versa. If something happens to Tel Aviv, and then that becomes an issue that America needs to get into, America needs to fight for Israel. If that happens, again, the stock markets will fall. Again, let me just be clear, I'm not part of a camp which is pro Israel or pro Iran or pro any country. I'm part of the camp of capitalism. I stick to my lane. This is my lane, stock markets and capitalism. My personal opinions don't matter here. So, let's see. So, Donald Trump came out and tweeted saying everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. What a shame and waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. So maybe there's something that's going to get worse, man. Who knows, right? The fact that Trump an hour back tweeted saying everyone should evacuate Tehran immediately, maybe they are going for the kill. I don't know. Could possibly be the case, right? In other news, in other more important, not more important, but at least more AI important news. OpenAI has won a $200 million contract with the US to provide the Department of Defense with artificial intelligence tools. So the AI party is still ongoing at the moment. Let me actually see what's happening with Nvidia in overnight markets. It had a great day. It might be down a bit for sure. Yeah, it's down about 0.63%. So not too much, but it had a decent day. It was up at one point of time all the way up to about 2.87%, all the way to 146. So it's looking good for Nvidia, but all of it's going to depend on what happens with the NASDAQ, right? I mean, at the moment, especially what's going to happen with, I would say, the Israel Iran story. That's the one that's going to pick up big. Hi, hi, hi. What's up, Mob? How's it going? Are you guys able to hear me clearly and see me clearly? Just drop in and say if you can. Okay, so Trump says he signed off on a UK US trade deal, autos within quota, uh, to avoid the 25% tariff and face a 10% combined rate instead. US also plans new quotas for UK steel, aluminium, and is eyeing preferential terms for UK pharma. Okay, cool. Uh, US tells allies it won't join war unless Iran targets Americans. So, which seems the case. I don't really think it's going to turn into that kind of a situation. It's all cool. MOB says, can I say something? You can say whatever you want, bro. It's all chill. Uh, Let me go ahead and see. So again, for everyone that's tuning in new, remember we do this 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So join in. It's practically about 12 hours from now is when we go live every day, an hour before the market comes in, and then we see what's happening there, what's exactly going to be happening there. Do you pretend to be smart? I wish, bro. I wish I was smart, and I'm the first one to admit that. I wish I was. Then I wouldn't be having so many losing trades also. All right. But yeah, I'm here after 16 years of trading as well. So that's saying something. Anyways, air defense is highly active in Tehran, Iranian state news agency, Trump. On our way to making sure Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. Let's see, President Trump just said we signed trade pact. Okay. Let's see if anything else has been happening. The fact that he's leaving the G7 summit and going back to Washington, especially when we were thinking that all of these trade wars and the Israel-Iran tensions were ending or at least simmering down, it doesn't seem that way, right? It seems a lot that it was just a calm before the storm, right? So let's see, let's figure it out. Let's see what else is happening. IRGC spokesman says Iran strikes against Israel will continue until morning. Now I'm guessing what happens there, right? James comes in, says hi from Ireland. Hi buddy, how's it going? Nice to see you in. Let's see what else is going on. Buddy, if you keep spamming, I will have to stop you from here. So choose what you want to do. Doesn't make sense to keep going at it, right? Okay, let's. Let me go see what else is going on. What else is happening? So yeah, we're down about 0.5% on the NASDAQ at the moment. I'm guessing he would come up with a speech post him returning to the White House. Something might happen, especially when he lands. We might get better information on what's going on there. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, guys, if you keep spamming, I'm not going to be able to do anything, right? This is the only thing forward then. Let's be a little more civil. We got people here. We're trying to make money here. So, anyways, let's go ahead to the next one. Let's see. So, WSJ reports that OpenAI executives have considered filing antitrust complaints against Microsoft, frustrated by the tech giant's grip over their partnership and demands for a larger stake in OpenAI's potential for profit. So I'm guessing OpenAI and Microsoft are not having the same lunch together. OpenAI needs Microsoft approval to convert its structure and raise 20 billion in funding. But talks have stalled, with Microsoft reportedly asking for more ownership than OpenAI is willing to give. The conflict is especially sharp around IP access from OpenAI's $3 billion windsurf deal, which OpenAI doesn't want Microsoft tapping into. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But one thing that I did see was that every Mag 7 name just closed the day green. Rahul says hi. Hi Rahul, how's it going? So Tesla was in the green 1%. Meta was up about 3%. They had some AI stuff that they're putting in, so they're going to come into WhatsApp and put in ads. So that's taken the stock higher as well. Amazon was up about 1.89. Nvidia was up about 2. Google was up about 1.2. Microsoft was pretty much flat, 1% almost, 0.88. Right. Apple's up about 1%. So it was pretty a fully grained day for the stock market, right? The S&P up about 1%, NASDAQ up about 1.5, Dow up about 0.75. So not a bad day. It was a pretty good day. A lot of the high beta stocks started picking up. Now just keep in mind that a lot of what we're trying to figure out here is this going to end into a scenario where the Israel-Iran tensions for some reason get the Americans involved, and if they do, then that would start affecting a lot of, let's say, oil would start picking up massively, and you would start seeing a lot of these commodities plays as well picking up, which would then be some form of a situation, right? To look at. I mean, at the moment it's up about 2%, so I'm not sure how much of it is going to keep going higher, but we don't want a recovery in oil to start taking out yesterday's high and then the previous day's high, right? That would start becoming a lot bigger of an issue. Anyways, at the moment, it's not really that much to worry about unless and until American forces get involved. Again, all of this is just my view. You guys need to trade based on your view, but this is my view at the moment. So we do this pretty much every day at about 8:30. So go ahead and subscribe, and then in about 12 hours is when we go live. It's about 2-3 of us that go live together an hour before the market opens. Let's see. Yeah, we got that. Iranian air defenses throat attack on Iranian whatever south gas field. So US builds up its military presence in the Middle East. The Nimitz aircraft carrier is now rerouted from the South China Sea to the Middle East on Monday. From what I'm looking at, 2 of the aircraft carriers are now in the Middle East. So I don't know how much of that's going to be. It's more of a deterrent from what I know. It's not something that everyone's looking at from. Let's see what's happened to the Dow. Sorry, the dollar index. Yeah, it's up like barely 0.09%. So it's pretty much nothing. It's more or less a dead day for the dollar, right? The Euro USD, on the other hand, has been picking up 1.15 now. I think we might make a top on that and start heading lower, and the dollar index start more than likely to start heading up. I don't want that to be timed with any form of an Israel-Iran situation or the Strait of Hormuz is shut down or any of that. But let's see. Israeli Prime Minister says on the possibility of assassinating Khomeini, I will not detail our plans publicly, but we will do whatever it takes. I don't know, man. I don't know if this is a negotiation or they just go for it. Let's see. US citizens who are unable to depart Iran should be prepared to shelter in place for extended periods. So possibly that is something that may or may not happen. I don't know. This might just get a little more worse before it gets better. Let me see what happened to the bond yields. The 10-year bond yield came lower at 4.428. That's about 0.5% lower. So that is looking like it could necessarily head lower. Remember, all of this is based on the concept that we're going to see some form of a recovery in the Israel-Iran tensions. If none of that's happening, all bets are off. We got Dikshant in the house. Nice to see you, buddy. How's the Israel-Iran thing going for you? We just had news that Trump left the G7 early. He's heading back to the White House today. He's convened the National Security Council in the White House, so in the Situation Room as well. So I think it could get pretty interesting. I mean, Wahab's here too. How's it going, buddy? So yeah, that's currently what's going on. Do I believe this is going to become a larger issue? I think it might. It was looking like things were simmering down. It was looking like the market was recovering to some form of a situation where they were more or less looking into this thing where if the leaders are not killed and if they're not attacking export infrastructure and they're not attacking oil fields again and again, they did attack one of the biggest ones in Iran, biggest in the world. From what I know, that the Iranian oil field that was hit was the biggest in the world, the biggest oil field in the world. So that's been happening, and it doesn't look like this thing's going to end pretty soon. I wouldn't bet on the fact that Israel attacked Iran just for it to be a weekend issue. But do I see that diplomacy will prevail? Possibly so, and that will lead us to all-time highs. Now, that's my bet. Everyone's free for their own opinion. Dikshant says he loves it. Yeah, I mean, it's volatility, right? It's a gift. And Wahab says he's enjoying the Hood stock ride. What happened to Hood? I remember it's seeing it about 2% higher now. What's it? 76. Jesus Christ. This thing's going to 100, bro. If this can take out 80, bro, it's going to 100. You're going to make a lot of money, man. That's a good thing. That's just phenomenal. I love it when people make money. It's just so much fun. Yeah, so I mean, the NASDAQ's still down only 100, right? Let me see. Was Dikshant saying, "Dude, they've bombed Tel Aviv"? Yeah. Are you talking about the one they've been doing all this while, or has there been a new one? I don't see anything about a new one at the moment, but they've been bombing each other for the past few days, anyways. Like, one thing that the only reason why the markets are spooked and oil is up about 2% is because Trump's leaving the G7 summit and heading back to the White House. And that is something that is kind of making people a bit more worried than usual. I mean, I'm guessing he knows more, right? I mean, I would say the toughest thing in this scenario, what's the worst case here? My base case scenario, and what's the bull case, right? The bull case scenario is things just settle down slowly and we start ripping higher in stocks. I would give maybe a 25% chance to that. As of yesterday, I would have given a 50% chance to that. Base case scenario for me would be you get these attacks going on for a few more days, maybe a week, and eventually just, this just boils into something where the market doesn't care and moves on, which was beginning to happen yesterday. What's the worst case scenario, which still has like a 35-40% probability in my head, is they get rid of or they assassinate or whatever. They basically kill Iran's supreme leader. That leads to full-scale Middle East war. At the same time, the Strait of Hormuz is shut down. That's $120 barrel on oil. And that's the end of your bull market, right? If oil doubles in a year, it has led to severe recessions. And it wouldn't take too long for that to happen if that is the plan or if that is likely. I don't know anything about it, but I would guess smarter heads would prevail, because what my belief is that the administration wants prices of oil to be lower. So going down that road where you go ahead and finish off a leader as well as eventually them shutting the Strait of Hormuz would lead to $120 barrel of oil, and I don't know how much people would be appreciative of that fact when it comes to a lower oil price not being there because the Strait of Hormuz is shut down. So just few things that I'm looking at. I'm not saying anything is going to happen, but I don't know. Let's see. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, this shit's going to change every 12 hours, so that's why I thought let me do a post market and a pre market till the time these things settle down, and then eventually we'll also do. Let me see if I can do a Fed meeting as well. Now, I'm not sure how much of that is going to be that important at this moment, but here's the flip side. If geopolitical tensions do start getting worse, that's enough of a reason for Powell to cut. Now, would that be a scenario that could happen? I'm guessing that is possibly on their minds, because the longer this stays, it could be also something where the Fed cuts. So that's why the markets could remain bullish longer. Do I still expect all-time highs to come through? Yes. But I am a bit apprehensive about the fact as to whether this can lead to a, a full-scale situation. And if that is the case, then that's worrisome. Anyways, I'm so sorry I'm not able to say your name, but I don't want to butcher it up. But hi, and how's it going? So I'm just saying, like, as a scenario, this could pretty much be worse. Oh, Kathy Wood ended up buying 128,000 shares of Nvidia today. Okay. She's been buying Circle as well. Yeah, no, she's been selling Circle. She sold some of her Meta, she sold some of her Circle. And she bought Nvidia. So that's that. What was fascinating was a week before she came out and said that SpaceX should be valued at about 3 trillion or something around those lines. I could still get that story out by 2030. But she said they're going to have $1 billion worth of assets in Mars. And she's discounting that cash flow from there. So, okay. I mean, obviously, all said and done, I'm not sure if she's giving great returns, but she is Kathy Wood at the end of it. So I'm guessing she has a little more insight into what's happening in Mars. Morgan Stanley says that the Trump-backed bill may hurt growth. I don't know if it's going to really hurt growth that much. I think the concept of just passing that bill is going to solve a lot of uncertainty for the markets as well as eventually for the economy. A lot of people would be holding out on purchases as well as taxability issues which they have faced. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to ABC, we don't rule out assassinating Khomeini. Right. Okay. So Tesla's self-driving technology has outpaced. Dikshant has a question saying, do you think about morality when we are trading on both sides of the coin of a war? Are you saying morality in terms of my set of beliefs, or are you saying in terms of everyone? Like, so then I can answer your question like, okay, you mean do you think about morality? So I'm guessing you're thinking of asking about me. Yes. Would I wish all of this to stop? 100%. But on the flip side, I would be stupid if The reason why stocks fell was because of Middle Eastern tensions, and I'm not buying because of that, just because I believe that I shouldn't be buying stocks when people are dying. If that's the question, no, I don't. Uh, I keep my trading, my investing completely separate to what I believe in personally. Between 9:30 and 4 a.m. when markets are open, I focus on the job on hand. I focus on making money. I focus on how is it that I can get better returns, because that's my job. Post 3:30, post 4 o'clock, once markets close, till the next day, I can sit and intellectually keep thinking about what's right, what's wrong. Again, nobody's listening to me when it comes to geopolitics, about my morality about this, but nobody's even paying my bills and nobody's paying my taxes. So during market hours, the only thing I figure out, even off market hours, is how do I make the most out of the time I have on stocks in order to make more returns. It's not a game of money for me, it's more of a game of beating the index and beating it substantially. That's more fun for me. Rest of it, so to answer your question, during trading hours, do I have any morality about the wars and both sides of the coin? No, I don't. And maybe people don't like that answer, but it is what it is. The day someone else starts paying my bills and paying my taxes for my morality, I will worry more about all of these other wars going on in this world, right? Iran says we'll continue to strike Israel until it stops its attacks. So I don't know. I mean, last night there was the Al Jazeera journalist that also, they've been refuting the WSJ claims about Iranian signals to halt hostilities, asserts no messages were transmitted. Now, I mean, in all honesty, I don't really know who to trust here when it comes to these things. So I trust what I see on the tape, what I see on the market. Yesterday, the market went up. Today, with President Trump leaving the G7 early and coming back, I think by the time we do our live in 12 hours from now, exactly 12 hours from now, we should have clear cut forward look into what's happening with these tensions, what's happening with the Iranian leader, what's happening in Israel, and what's happening in oil markets. At the moment, oil markets are still 2.25% higher, right? 71.41 on WTI light crude, right? So I look at that a little more because that's the American one that basically ends up getting hammered. But even if you look at Brent, it's up about 1.77. Look at oil. Oil will have an inverse correlation with equity markets at this moment. So 12 hours from now, we should get a lot more information. All of you that have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, and we will go live exactly 12 hours from now again. So you'll get a notification whenever I do these lives, right? So like today was not a decided live, but I thought maybe with all of this nonsense happening, let's just go ahead, see if everyone's good. So we have like a few of the regulars in as well. I remember Jason coming in for the morning session as well. So, I mean, it was a great day in stocks. Let me not get that away from anyone. You can have markets moving crazy up and down based on what's going on, but we're still a good 12 hours away, 13 hours away from market opening. So anything can happen under the sun. Let me see what happened to Roku, because one of that, I was actually looking at that when they signed up with Amazon ads, that actually had a big move, right? 10% up. Wow. That stock got hammered. Like it was halved in the April, from Feb to April. And then it's pretty much gone from 52 to like 82 right now. Gold's been picking up as well. So 3,400 on gold as well. So, I mean, just keep a watch on all of these things. You don't want to end up at a situation where you're kind of looking at, oh, this can't go this way, this can't go that way. Maybe lighten up some positions, keep some cash. Who knows? I mean, if this shit hits the fan, you might just be sitting on one of the best buying opportunities in the next few weeks or months if this does hit the fan. And if it doesn't, you'll miss out, right? That's the game. Trump at G7 wouldn't mind China joining G7, right? Yeah. So that's his way of trying to get the deal done as well. So Trump says he's a tariff person. One of these other questions that I was asked, Sean was asking me this yesterday, is what is my view on the July 9th trade deadline? Do you think we're going to be some trade deals that happen? I think with India and with Japan and Vietnam, we might, maybe not Vietnam, but maybe China, Japan, and most likely Canada and Mexico. And I think that should be good enough. The rest of the countries, he's just going to go out and say, this is the tariff you're going to pay from today. It'll be 10% or whatever he decides. But the market won't give a damn and it'll just head higher, because my belief is the market really cares about Canada, Mexico, China, and Japan. And if the big guys are taken care of, even there's a framework, right? See, remember, we're not making deals here. We're making deals to make deals. This is what's happening here, right? This is the art of a deal. We're not making any form of a deal. We're making deals to go ahead and make deals someday. That's what's happening. So if we're able to make concepts to a plan, we're good. Stocks will head higher because it's just less uncertainty. Let me get Dishan's question. Dude, I really think people are buying away the supply that's coming in. Further, there'll be people sitting on cash when we almost near highs. New highs can possibly fuel money pumping in. Yeah, that's my belief as well. I still do believe that a lot of people from the April 2nd to April 9th, or even before that, who panic sold and who have been panic selling for everything that's been happening, I still do believe they're not back. Even the data shows that they're not back. Retail has been the biggest buyer around the April levels, but they've been the biggest sellers post that as well. So a lot of the money has not yet come back, and a lot of the money only comes back once everything settles down and stocks head way higher, which is all-time highs, like you're saying, and heads higher and higher. Under that pretext, it's kind of looking like I think the more people that sit away from this, the easier it's going to be to get to that all-time high. I think there's a direct correlation between my belief. If you see Nvidia heading towards the 150, 153 and breaking out into all-time highs, that's going to be the one that's going to take the market higher into all-time highs. I was saying this yesterday on the live as well. I think that's the one that's going to take us a lot higher. It is going to be Nvidia's game. Let me just go out and put this there. So everyone can then join us for the live. Okay. Yeah, so oil's still up about 2.15%. I don't want to be someone just comes and gives you prices all the time, but the current talk of the moment is Israel, Iran, and its effect on oil, and how oil would affect us in the market at this moment. So keep in mind, keep a watch on all of these things. Another thing that I was looking at was a lot of the immigrants, right? I think almost 1 million illegal immigrants have self-deported, which is going to lead to wage increases for those that remain. That is what is necessarily going to keep the personal spending as well as the wage increase number that we get monthly better and better. I do believe that employment numbers can take a hit. Again, like everyone says, Israel, Iran, all of this stuff is looking crazy. It is, and I wouldn't deny that. But in my opinion, you could necessarily see a worse scenario if the employment numbers start worsening. So if the employment numbers start getting worse, and how do I look at the employment numbers? I look at initial jobless claims. They come out weekly, or look at your weekly claims. If they start spiking, they have been at They've not been at new highs, but they are inching higher. So I'm looking at that. Today's retail sales, right? Retail sales comes out today. Let me actually go in and check. I think it usually comes out at what? About 8:30 or somewhere around there. So we'll get 8:30 retail sales that come in. So I'll do a live at about 8:20. So you guys can join in then when we get the retail sales number that comes in. The bet is that retail sales is going to drop to negative territory month on month, negative 0.5. 0.2% on core retail sales month on month higher. So retail sales would make a big difference. Remember, there could be pull forward, which is pretty much done and dusted. Now this is, you're looking at May numbers now, as of now. So let's see. There'll be some amount of tariff effects that will come through. Do I believe that can continue into better retail sales? I believe if we have good retail sales that come in, markets can start moving up higher and higher again, which is logical, but a lot of people are not pricing that in right now because the pull forward from tariffs is not going to come in and affect retail sales the way it affected us last month. All right. So to just go back, we were expecting in May, we were expecting a flat 0.0 forecast on retail sales. It came in at positive 0.1. On core retail sales, we were expecting 0.3 positive. It came in at 0.1. So also remember that previously we've been roaming around the 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. Now we're at 0.1. So we're not improving in that standpoint. Let me just get this question. Wouldn't America want to install themselves in Iran post Mossad assassinating Iran's top guy? Bro, that's like beyond my pay grade, man. That's like way beyond my pay grade. And that's got like so many ifs and buts in it that I don't even know what's going on there. My bet is, the only thing I'll tell you when it comes to stock markets in that is that if what you're saying by any chance happens, stocks would be materially lower. Like, it's not a 24-hour job out there if that is the case, right? But in all essence, that's really beyond my pay grade. I mean, I don't know how to answer that, and I don't want to give you some stupid answer, but it's too much for me to worry about that happening, what you're saying, right? That America installing themselves in Iran post Mossad, this is just too many things. Too many things, bro. AMD was up about 8.81%. Jesus Christ. AMD is looking at selling its data center business to Sanmina for up to $3 billion, including $2.25 billion in cash. Wow, that's a move. That's a huge move. Coinbase was up about 7.7%. Dikshan says, I'm just thinking possibilities, man. No, you're right to think that way. It's not like I haven't thought about it, but do I know the answer to how that's going to affect? The only thing I know when it comes to capital markets is that if what you're saying does turn out to be the case, we're doomed. Remember, all of this is pretty much based on this concept that it's going to be some form of a recovery in the market, right? So all of this is also based on this concept that there is going to be diplomacy at the end of it, which doesn't really seem to be the case at this moment. Let me see what else is happening with. I know Kering, which is the guys that Gucci, they decided to put in the CEO from Renault into Gucci at the moment. So that stock's up about 11.76%. So let's see. Let me just go ahead and see what else is going on here. Iran's preparing for the largest and intense missile attack in history on Israeli soil. Trump does not intend to sign G7 statement on Israel-Iran CBS. Let's see. Anyways, This was actually a pretty cool thing that I was looking at, which is that the European Commission pushed back on reports suggesting it would accept a 10% US tariff, calling them speculative and inaccurate. Officials say that EU still considers the tariff unjustified and illegal and maintains its opposition as talks continue. So that's that, right? Okay, we got to make sure that we don't waste our time. Okay. Anyways, life is better when people talk more and type less. Anyways, so that's currently been happening. So that's one thing that I did look at, because what I could see was that markets weren't expecting any positive news from the EU, Europe, US, this thing. And even I wasn't, right? For me also, what I still do believe is that the US and EU are going to be the toughest trade deal for it to happen, right? And that's one of the reasons why when I gave you the numbers of these companies coming together, it was pretty unlikely that EU is going to come to a deal pretty soon with the US, because it's just there's just so many of those countries that have to deal with each other before they can even do anything. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because the commission comes out and says that they're not ready for what the reports suggest of a 10% US tariff, and they call them speculative and inaccurate. They're still considering the tariffs unjustified and illegal and all of the same story all over again, and maintains its opposition as talks continue. It's just negotiation at the end of all of this, but I still do believe it'll be the toughest trade deal to make, EU and the US. It's just because, and China and the US is the simplest deal to make, because it's just two guys need to decide everything and everybody else just follows. Out here, it just gets unreal with the amount of countries that need to come together on the same table and then decide, okay, this is what's going to happen, right? So we have about 8 votes on the poll, and that says that most people are expecting more conflict ahead, right? So let's see. I'm just going to end that poll because pretty much won on the fact saying that there is going to be more amount of stuff that's going to be coming up ahead. But yeah, let's see. At the moment, I'm not sure how much of this would be of an issue. But anyways, guys, I don't want to keep this thing going on all the time. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Dikshan, nice to see you in. Thank you for coming in as well. Let me just see if okay, I haven't really seen. There's nothing really happening other than the fact that we're at Taco Tuesday. So let's see if something about tariffs happen, right? I mean, at the moment, everyone would be better off if there's some form of tariff nonsense than the Israeli-Iran war that's going on. Anyways, guys, so everyone, go ahead and subscribe. We're going to go live in the next 12 hours, 8:30 Eastern. And then let's go in and see what's happening with the market. Let me just give you a final look at the market. 118 points down on the NASDAQ in futures. So let's see what happens there. Maybe volatility picks up. The news is that Trump is heading back to the White House. He has gotten the National Security Council. Let's see what happens with the Iran-Israel war. Maybe 12 hours from now, we have some more clarity. Or maybe not. But we'll see. We'll still go live in 12 hours. So go ahead, subscribe, and you should get a notification every time I go live. And it's pretty much, other than the 8:30 ones, it can be at any time, anywhere. So join in, guys. Take care. Have a good one. Nice to see all of you. Take care.